No matter what style of track you're mastering or working on, it's really likely that you're going to be working with some form of breakdowns or intros, and you're probably looking for, you know, that little bit of extra impact when things re-enter the mix, when everything re-enters the mix. And this is a quick tip based on a longer tutorial I did, which will hopefully be published first on Audiotuts, on mastering and a mastering chain. And I said that I'd do 2 quick tips, and this one specifically is going to be about manual gain alteration or manual gain editing, and the other one was about mid-side processing. So what I want to demonstrate is really this section coming up. When everything comes back in, I want to add some extra impact, and it's best to do that in the mix, but sometimes it's just not possible to get that sort of punch on the other side. Now, I don't think this is really too bad because it's not a full-on track, but if you were looking for something, you know, looking at a track that was a little heavier, then you might want to, you know, make it a bit more intense. So let's have a look at what we can do. Let's stop the playback a second and let's go into the track. And I'd use automation. Now you can put this in a separate sample editor, and you can do this in, you know, Wavelab or whatever you like. But I like to do it with automation, especially in Logic. So if I click my automation shortcut, I can put a point in, and this is pretty important that this is the first thing you do. And let's just zoom in. Put a point in where it kicks off. So it's sort of like a safety point. Just check it's at the right point here. So what we're aiming to do realistically is make this point sound louder. So to do that, we've got to make everything else appear quieter. Now what I tend to do is put a few points in and just start off by fading out the breakdown and see if this works. And you want to make this transparent. Really, it's got to be reasonably extreme if you've got a lot of mastering processors on, because the compressor's going to iron this out. You can always automate the compressor values and turn the ratios down, but as soon as you start to turn things down, and as soon as you start to, you know, have extreme jumps like this, the limiters and the compressors are going to attempt to iron out the dynamic range. So let's have a listen, see if this works. So we're looking at about 4 dB here. So you can see that's made a difference already. Now, if you wanted to make it a little bit more transparent, you could just add a little curve in here. And you could maybe start it from the very beginning of the breakdown. The longer period you can do it over, the less sharp the curve is, the better. And, you know, make sure that jump's not too big, because it's going to start sounding a bit daft if it jumps too much. But you can hear how we can create impact that way. And it's a really, really quick tip, a quick tool. Like I said, I don't think this track really warrants it, but I'm just showing you. I've not, you know, I make sure in my mixes that generally that bit works. You can see the differences here, but you might find in a really busy breakdown, if you've not worked on the automation enough in the mix, or if for whatever reason, if you can't go back to the mix, you might need to do it. And you could, of course, you could do this in every breakdown. It's reasonably quick to do. That's sort of the process, the quick process there. I mean, you'll get to do it really, really fast, and then you can tweak it. But hopefully this gives you an idea of how to do it, and you know, an option that you've got when it comes to increasing the impact of breakdowns and sort of manual gain editing.